What's up, everybody?
Hello.
What's up? What's up? What's up? It's
What's
Saturday
up?
night, and as such, it is time for another After Dark.
Wow, I'm looking kind of greasy.
Looking kind of greasy.
Yeah. Whoa.
It's okay. I'll get out some biscuits later. What's up? What's up? If you're here, let us know you're here. If you're watching the replay, let us know you're watching the replay. If you happen to be watching live, we ask, as we do every week, that you share this with someone. It's a very simple question we're going to ask tonight. Very simple question, and that question is it important for you to know your spouse's body count? Very important. Not important. You tell us. Anyway, share it with a friend, and because we just want to know the answer. Listen, here's the thing: the whole idea around these conversations is not necessarily to provide advice, even though last week we're talking about family drama, in-law drama, and we did give a little bit of advice, but typically it's not to give advice. Typically it's to bring up subjects that we don't normally hear talked about often. And I'll put this little end on to it because we're people of faith. It's something we don't often hear people talk about in church or in faith-based groups or in spaces where we probably should be talking about all these things, right? Some of these things that we kind of sweep under the rug or let other people shape our ideology around. We should be having conversations around ourselves.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
all right. So until we get some folk in here in the comments, we can just talk amongst ourselves. What do you think?
Do I think it's important to know it?
Yeah.
No.
Why not?
Why not? Because I don't want to tell you my answer.
Ah, that's okay. Okay.
No.
That's honest. That's
No,
honest.
no, no, no.
If
That's not
you
that.
don't want me to share because you don't want to share.
Not that's partly why.
Okay.
But I just don't want to know because I think knowing makes you then start thinking and wondering, man, am I good? Am I doing enough?
Should you never ever know? Like, is that a conversation that so here's a question. Is that a conversation that should happen before you get married, but not happen after you get married? Because after you get married, what does it
can you do?
matter?
Yeah.
I mean, like at that point, is what are you going to do? You can't. If you're petty enough to walk away because you don't like the number, then you shouldn't have got married in the first place.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just me though, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I guess it depends on the person. Everybody's different. Some people that's important to them. Maybe.
man, I'd love for somebody who thinks that it's important to tell us why.
Do you what's your answer?
I could care less.
You could care less. I
Now,
could care less too.
Here's what I will say.
Mhm.
Here's what I will say. Depending on when the conversation happens, I could potentially feel some kind of way.
When at
So, give you an
ahead.
example. If we're dating
Mhm.
and it looks like, okay, hey, this is the one, and I find out that you're like in the thousands. I'm being facetious, but if I find out, that if it's an uncomfortable number for me, whatever that number is, because
Mhm.
sometimes one is uncomfortable for some people.
Right.
At that point in our relationship, I might feel some kind of way, because then my question would be, do I know these guys? Am I going to be running into these dudes?
Yeah.
Like,
I can understand
I
that.
may feel some kind of way then. Now, what's the point?
What's the point?
And after you get married, what's the point?
But yes, I agree. After you get married, what's the point? But if you were to know,
Mhm.
and if you were to know, why would, if you know those guys, and I don't know, it may be a guy thing.
Mhm.
I don't know. But for you to question, do I know these guys? Does that matter to guys?
I mean,
or to
I don't know. It might.
Okay.
It might. I'm thinking back then, right? Back then, yes, it might matter if, like, I'm gonna be running into this dude on a basketball court, or
Why?
you know what I'm saying, or just because I don't know. There's some level of insecurity there, maybe, or
Okay, I don't
something.
know. I was just asking.
Yeah, but I think for some people that would be an issue in the beginning,
Okay.
and maybe even for some women that
Mhm.
might be an issue. If you're like, man, am I gonna be, am I gonna be, in a situation where I got to chop it up with these chicks who been with my guy? I don't know. I don't know. So the whole reason why I'm even asking this, I'm curious to see what other people think, and we'll see if some folk jump in here before we get off. But I was watching something earlier
Mhm.
where it was being debated.
Mhm.
So that's really what made me think about it. Generally, some of these conversations that we do on Saturday nights come out of our experience with our clients.
Right.
And I was trying to think back. I don't think that this has been a topic of discussion with any of our clients. Like, there was somebody who felt some kind of way.
Right. Not as far as I know.
Yeah, not as far as I know. But because I watched it, I was like, you know what? Let me throw it out here to the folks, and typically on Saturday nights, they kind of trickle in and give their opinion at some point. So if you're watching, the question is it important for you to know your spouse's body count?
Here's
what, and if you're new to the term, sorry, give me 1 second. If you're new to the term body count, here's what we're asking. Is it important for you to know how many people your spouse slept with
before you?
Now, obviously, this isn't going to apply to everyone because there's some
Correct.
people who did not sleep with anybody
Right. Before they got
before they
married.
got married. Let
Right.
me ask you this though. Let's say,
I thought you were about to ask me.
let's say you're a virgin. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to get married.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need to know?
I think even more so no, because I'm a virgin and I don't want that to make me feel insecure in any way.
Okay.
So I'm thinking this is what I might think. This is what I imagine I might think. It's just like I don't want to know. Just I don't want to know because I don't have, because this is all will be all new to me,
Mhm.
right? The whole sexual experience, and so
Mhm.
I wouldn't want anything to, I don't know, taint my thoughts around it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And make me think, man, I wonder if he thinks I'm as good as, whoever
Mhm.
else. So I would just not want to know.
So let me ask you this though. And David Kennedy, third, what's up? Thank you for
Hi,
being
David.
here. Said good topic. So here's the flip side of that though. If if you are if you're a virgin and I'm not, and we're about to get married, you say that knowing
Mm-hmm.
doesn't what
I was just trying to, nothing.
knowing doesn't knowing would give you some level of insecurity.
Yeah, I think so.
Would not knowing give you some level of insecurity because even if
Mm-hmm.
you don't know the count, but you
Uh-huh.
know
But I
that I'm
know.
experienced.
Yeah. Um, no, it would not.
Why not?
It wouldn't give me a level of insecurity because, again, I don't know. To me, knowing is like, is almost like details for me.
Okay.
And so I don't need to know all that.
So why do you think I'm switching gears now because it's only David is in the comments, so I can play around with this and jump around. Why do you think that? And this does come out of our experience with clients,
Mhm.
right? Why do you think it's important for people to know the details of an affair
Yeah,
if they
good
don't want to know the body count?
question. Mm. I think because that's different. With an affair, you have been unfaithful. Like body count, there it's not like there was a you and I.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Body count is previous relationships.
Okay.
Whereas being unfaithful is you and I are already in a relationship and then you had an affair. Body count doesn't really have anything to do with me because there was no you and I.
Yeah, but I mean, the argument can be that the argument can, I understand what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
but the details of it
Mm-hmm.
is not pertinent to reconciliation or destruction of the relationship.
Yeah, I wonder sometimes why I don't understand it because I've never experienced it. So I wonder sometimes why female, is it just females? Do you think males do want details?
I don't know. I don't know of any males that do, but I'm not saying that there's probably males that do. David said I'm asking all the hard questions, and this is one of the questions that I would be
He
asking.
is.
Um,
I don't know what the purpose is in wanting to know details. And so I wonder if it's to make the unfaithful person uncomfortable. I don't know.
I don't know. Me personally, this is my personal opinion. Now, I'm not going, before I say what my personal opinion is, I'm not going to discourage a client who feels like
Feels
they
like they
need
need to
that,
know. Yeah.
right? However, this is my opinion. Please hear me. That is the preference. That is the
This is
Disclaimer.
your opinion.
It makes absolutely there is absolutely no reason why you should know the details of an affair.
Mm-hmm.
None. There's no reason that anybody can give me that would convince me that that reason is good enough for me to know the details.
Yeah, that's
Me
a
just
whole nother
knowing
topic.
me just know yeah, that's a whole nother topic. I'm gonna go back to what we were talking about. Me just knowing that the affair happened
It's
is
detailed
all
enough.
the ammunition that is needed. All the details are going to do is send me over the edge.
Right.
So if you want to increase the chances of the relationship disintegrating, tell me the details, because then now I have more to process, which is going to take more processing time, which means that just prolongs reconciliation, forgiveness, and all of that.
Yeah.
I don't see no point in it, but that's just me. But then the thing is, if the body count is not important, that should not be important either, which is the point that I'm making.
Right.
David said,
Yeah.
I recently heard that a man stated that he had 10,000 women. You wouldn't want to know details. I'm going to ask.
10,000? Is that
outside,
a true number?
Outside of knowing the number.
Is that a true number?
Well, I remember, you remember the old school basketball player, Wilt Chamberlain?
Yeah.
He said he claimed his number was like crazy like that.
I cannot.
That's not impossible.
I don't know.
That's not impossible. Think about, so I'm gonna use Wilt Chamberlain as an example. Think about his career.
Mm-hmm.
So he's on the road for a considerable amount of the basketball players are on the road for a considerable amount of the year. Let's say let's give them baller status, and they're with somebody 5 days out of 7 in the week. That's roughly 300 people a year. Times 10 years in the league. It's doable.
Wow.
Yeah, it's doable. That's doable. That's easily doable. It's definitely not impossible. Yeah, it's not. That's It sounds like a big number, but if you span it out, it's doable.
Wow.
It's doable over the course of your life. But here's the thing. Me personally, so for me, right, this has to quantify this.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be able to attach it to something that either benefits me,
right,
or gives me ammunition for one thing or another. And this doesn't do either one for me. So full transparency, for those who might be watching now or watching the replay, full transparency, this is not a conversation we've ever had.
Right. I was going to say, you're not about to say, are you? Yeah.
And here's the thing, and this is going to sound, I know how it's going to sound when I say it, but I'm going to explain why it sounds that way. I don't want to have the conversation with you because it's going to force me to tally. And I don't want to. Because in order for me to tally, I have to go back and reminisce. And I ain't doing that. Nope.
That's honest.
Because there's no reason for me to do that.
That's honest.
And I'm sure there's people that I've forgotten, but I ain't about to go down that road because that ain't going to do nothing for us. What is that going to do for you?
This conversation is crazy. So if it would force you to reminisce, I'm going down a different path now.
Mm-hmm.
What would that, okay, so what? You reminisce.
I had a phenomenal time in college. Phenomenal. Let's call a spade a spade. Like my college experience was not boring.
Oh my
It just
gosh.
wasn't.
Okay.
So I'd have to think about things that I don't want to think about. I don't want to think about.
I appreciate your honesty.
You know what I'm saying? I just don't want to. That does nothing for us for me to do that. Nothing.
Man, I
Nothing.
appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, that does nothing for us at all. Which is why I don't understand why people need to know it. But
Mm,
there are some people who need to know that because they feel like, I mean, and I'm not knocking you. Like David said, he's asking all the hard questions, and that's one he's going to ask, right? I'm not knocking the person who needs to know. I'm just
yeah,
saying, me personally, I can't pull out the benefit in that.
yeah. But you know what I appreciate about you is that you leave closed doors closed,
Yeah,
and you're not willing to entertain. I'm not like, now that you're married, you have been like, I ain't, well, maybe not in the beginning,
not
but
not in the beginning.
not in the
You're right.
beginning. But you're like, now you're like, I'm not even going to entertain that. And I
Yeah,
feel like that takes strength. And I appreciate that you do that, because not everyone can do that,
I agree. And not
right?
everyone wants to
Clearly,
do that.
because marriages are,
Not everyone wants to do that.
and not everyone wants to do that. And you may not even want to do that, but I appreciate that you do that.
That's a vow that I made in somewhere in the middle of our second year.
Mm. I
I was
appreciate
like, we
your
we're not
honesty,
doing
and
it.
I
We're not doing
appreciate
that.
that you do that, because I know that that is not something that a lot of people do. Hence why a lot of marriages are
That's why things
having
happen.
challenges.
Yep.
Not the only reason why.
But that's one. Because I'll be honest, no doors were closed when I got married.
I
And
know.
not because I was trying to have my cake and eat it too. I just
You didn't feel like they needed to
I
be
didn't feel like
closed.
they needed to be closed.
Yeah.
And open doors, drafts come through open doors.
Drafts come through open doors. So good.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. But but listen, I'm behind folk like David who are like, I need to know. So that, hey, listen, if you need to know, you need to
You
know.
need to know.
And that's
Yeah.
cool. Like I can't we can never dictate to somebody else what should be important to them.
Of course.
I just
Absolutely.
want to know, is it important to you? And maybe why it's important.
Yeah.
Because it's not important to me.
Hmm.
That's just kind of where I'm at on it. And so listen, if you're watching the replay, just throw in the comments if it's important to you. We'd love to hear your opinion on that.
Is it that it's not important to you, or is it that you are not even willing to entertain the topic?
I I don't think it's that I'm not willing to entertain the topic, but
Or is it that it's not important to you, or is it another one of those doors that you're not willing to open?
it might be a door I'm not willing to open. Um, L. Davis said, nah, you don't want to know. So here's my thing. I don't. It's not so much that I'm not willing to entertain it. It's just that I don't. There's nothing that I can do with that information. So what's the point? Like
Yeah.
I can't do anything with the information. So here, two sides of the coin under the same umbrella. One, I can't do anything with the information. So one side of that coin is, if you tell me before we get married, it potentially will mess with my head. Maybe. Depends on where I am, what my maturity level is, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
It could potentially mess with my head. What does that do for us?
Right.
Nothing. Now, having the conversation absolutely does nothing for us.
Hmm.
So that, I think it's not so much that I don't want to entertain it. If you want to tell me the number and you feel like it's important for me to know, I'll hear it. But in my mind, I'm like, what am I going to do with that?
Yeah.
I can't do nothing with
I
that.
agree.
It literally doesn't matter to me. I've known my wife 33 years. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm with you, bro. It doesn't matter. Like
Same.
but here's the thing. Here's what's interesting. Based on what I was watching today, it does matter to people.
It does matter to some people.
It does matter.
Yeah.
And this is why, I felt like I wanted to bring that question to this Saturday night forum, because it does matter to some folk.
Hmm.
And I would love to hear why.
Yeah. Why
It
does it
matters.
matter? Why does it matter?
I'd love to hear from some folk. And it's cool if it matters to you. we're not knocking it
We're
one way
not
or the
saying
other.
it shouldn't,
Yeah, we're not
but we're
knocking it
just
one way or the other.
curious as to why
Why?
does it matter? What do
Why
you
does it
do
matter?
with the information now?
Yeah. Why does it
Now
matter?
that you have it.
So yeah, so that was my whole thing. I just wanted to see what people thought about that. There's not a great deal of individuals on right now, so we'll see if people
That's
catch this
interesting.
after the fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just was curious.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I feel like information needs to. I feel like there needs to be something that I can do with the information. Now, here's the other side of that coin.
Mm.
The other side of that coin is the whole point of these Saturday night conversations is to get people talking because we feel like they should be talking about everything.
Yeah. Do we want them to talk about this? Oh, my fan just died. Oh, Lord.
Here, take this.
Have mercy on the perimenopause lady.
So that's the other side of this coin. The other side of the coin is that we feel like a couple should be able to talk about everything.
Mm-hmm.
This falls under the category of everything. Now you're going to have to check your maturity level.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to figure out how to quantify this information in a way that doesn't become detrimental.
Yeah, and you have to really think about, why is it important to you? Like, why?
Yeah.
Why is it important?
She knows I was super active in the 80s and early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Like, for us, we haven't had that conversation. My college days were incredible. Like, I had a phenomenal time. Like, you know what I'm saying? But how does that help now?
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
right,
Like, how does us talking about that now? What does that do to edify our relationship? Nothing.
Right, exactly.
You know,
That's the word.
nothing.
Does it
So-
edify? If it doesn't edify, then what's the point?
Yeah.
What's
so
the
that
point?
that's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
I
good.
stopped as soon as I got baptized in 96. That's what's up, bro.
Amen.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Yeah, so that's it. That's all we had. We weren't gonna be on here long because normally we have like 2 or 3 different topics. I don't want to go down the road of, even though we mentioned it a little while ago, I don't necessarily want to go down. This could be another conversation, maybe down the road of, is it necessary to know the details of an affair?
That's a good topic.
That might be another conversation in and of itself.
Yeah, that's a good topic.
That could springboard off of this, because
Yeah.
that does come out of our experience with clients.
This
Question, most of the stuff that we tackle on Saturday nights kind of comes out of something we had to deal with a client. This does not. However, knowing the details of an affair does.
Right.
Like, we've dealt with that.
Yeah. Some people want to know.
Some people want to know.
Particularly the wives, I would say. Don't you think?
I would say it's typically the wives.
Typically
as
the
well.
wives.
Now, there are some husbands
Yeah,
out
there
there
are.
who are like, hey, who's the guy? Who's this? Who's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna save that.
Yeah.
Maybe we do that next week. Maybe we just
Yeah.
do that question next
That's
week
a good topic.
and just tackle that, knowing the details. Why is it important? Is it important? Number one, and number
And
two,
why?
if yes, why? Because to a lot of people it is. So listen, we're gonna get out of here. The goal of this is for you to have conversations. Now, this might not be one you want to have. we're not saying you have to talk about everything. What we're saying is that you should be in a relationship where you can talk about everything.
Absolutely.
Now, you make the decision on what you feel like should be brought to the table and what should not be brought to the table based on whatever your reasoning is. But that's what we'll leave that to you.
Yeah.
So we're going to get out of here. Before we get out of here, if you know any couples who want to communicate on an extraordinary level, who want to recognize, manage, and recover from conflict in record time, and they want to build a holistic, intimate bond, we have just the experience for them. And that is the Make Love Better 6-week group coaching experience. We are starting a cohort on July 16.
So much fun.
If you know anybody who wants to have a great time, walk away with some tools that they can implement immediately to allow for their communication to be extraordinary, to allow for their conflict management to be effective, and allow their intimacy to grow, we want you to send them our way, and you can
So
send them to
much fun.
denali.org/make-love-better.
Not a lot of seats or not a lot of, what is it? Space.
Not a lot of space. We
Not a
keep
lot
them
of
small
space.
on
We keep
purpose.
them small. So if you or someone you know, you or a couple you know, want to get in on it, you have to get in on it soon, because we keep the we keep the group small and intimate so that all couples can get the attention that they need
That's
and
it.
deserve.
That's it. So make sure that you are, if you want to be a part of it, we would love to have you. If you know somebody who can benefit from this, share that with them as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's get out of here. This was a short one tonight.
Yeah.
If you catch the replay, we would love to know the answer to this question. And the question is it important for you to know your spouse's body count? If it is important for you to know your spouse's body count, why is it important for you to know your spouse's body count?
Yeah.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate that. Means a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Means a lot. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for that. All right, fam. We're gonna get out of here. We will see you. Will we see you next week? Yeah, I think we will see you next week.
Yeah.
For another episode of Have a Conversation After Dark.
After dark.
Listen, the goal is for you to have conversations. All right. You need to be communicating. And it's okay to talk about all kinds of things, right? We're not saying you have to talk about everything.
They should be able
but
to.
You should at least be able to talk about everything. And if that's not the case, let's talk about how we can create an environment where communication can thrive. All right. Have a great rest of your Saturday night, a phenomenal weekend, 4th of July weekend for those who are celebrating Independence Day. Have a great time. Be safe. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.